powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse.
O Captain, my Captain. Few films capture the bittersweet beauty of youth and mentorship like Dead Poets Society. Released in 1989 and directed by Peter Weir, the story of an unorthodox English teacher inspiring students to think for themselves became both a critical and cultural touchstone, with Robin Williams delivering one of his most heartfelt performances and a young cast that included Ethan Hawke, Robert Sean Leonard, and Josh Charles. The movie still resonates across generations. It wasn't just about poetry, it was about rebellion, tradition, dreams, and the cost of individuality. But behind the candles and classrooms were strange choices, hidden Easter eggs, and production stories as dramatic as the film itself. Here are 20 strange but true facts about Dead Poets Society, starting with the 5 that still leave audiences and critics in awe. Fact 1. Robin Williams wasn't the first choice for John Keating. It's almost impossible to picture anyone but Robin Williams standing on that desk, urging his students to seize the day. But Williams was not the studio's first pick. When the script was first circulating in the mid-1980s, director Jeff Kanew, Revenge of the Nerds, was attached, and he wanted Liam Neeson for the role of Keating. Later, when Kanew dropped out, Dustin Hoffman came on board with plans to both direct and star. The project stalled again when Hoffman left, and the role remained unsettled. Only when Peter Weir signed on as director did Williams emerge as the clear choice. At the time, he was still best known for manic comedy, Mork and Mindy, Good Morning Vietnam. Yet Weir encouraged him to play against type. Williams improvised in select moments, like his Shakespearean impressions, but otherwise held back his trademark wild energy, opting instead for a thoughtful, restrained presence. That balance of humor and gravitas transformed Keating into a character both charismatic and deeply human, ultimately earning Williams an Academy Award nomination. Fact 2. The Standing on Desks finale was scripted, not improvised. The famous Standing on Desks finale was scripted, not improvised. The final "O Captain, my Captain" scene was written into Tom Schulman's script, with stage directions that the boys rise one by one onto their desks in a silent salute. Peter Weir then shaped the emotion on set. He played Ennio Morricone's score from The Mission while filming to help the cast lock into the moment, and he even coached Robin Williams not to cry so the audience could. Robin Williams did improvise in other moments. For the first classroom sequence, Weir asked Williams to read a little Shakespeare and let the boys react, which is why that early scene feels loose and spontaneous. Fact 3. The film grossed over $235 million on a small budget. Despite its quiet, literary subject, Dead Poets Society was a box office phenomenon. Made for around $16 million, it grossed more than $235 million worldwide. Extraordinary for a drama with no special effects and few stars at the time. The strange part is how it resonated globally. In countries as different as Japan and France, audiences connected with the idea of tradition versus individuality. Poetry became a rebellion, and ticket sales proved that Keating's lessons transcended culture.
Well, he was incredibly funny, right? And he was very relaxed and very inventive, and he would get up and he was playing this teacher, and he would just improv constantly all day long. And the more the crew laughed, the more he would go. And I really wanted to be a serious actor. You know, I really was. I had read Stanislavski, and I had what was supposed to be in my pockets, and I really wanted to be in character, and I really didn't want to laugh.
Fact 4. Robin Williams both intimidated and encouraged Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke was only 18 when he landed the role of Todd Anderson, the painfully shy student in Dead Poets Society. At the time, he wasn't yet a seasoned actor and found himself overwhelmed by Robin Williams' larger-than-life presence. In later interviews, Hawke admitted he thought Williams hated him because Williams constantly cracked jokes on set, and Hawke rarely laughed. He was so serious and reserved that Williams' manic energy made him uncomfortable, which only heightened the real tension between their characters. But Williams wasn't dismissive. He noticed Hawke's seriousness and decided to challenge him rather than ignore him. Behind the scenes, Williams encouraged Hawke to trust his instincts, and after the film wrapped, he personally helped Hawke secure his first agent. Hawke has since said that this generosity gave him the confidence and industry access that launched his career. Looking back, he described Williams as someone who not only pushed him on set, but also quietly supported him off it, a mentor who transformed his teenage awkwardness into a breakthrough performance. Fact 5. Carpe diem is the beating heart of Dead Poets Society. When Mr. Keating urges his students to carpe diem, seize the day, it isn't just a memorable line. It's the philosophical anchor of the entire film. Director Peter Weir and writer Tom Schulman placed the phrase at the center of nearly every emotional turn. In the classroom, Keating presents it as a challenge to look beyond conformity and claim their own lives. That challenge ripples outward through the story. Neil Perry embraces it with tragic intensity, daring to pursue acting against his father's wishes. Todd Anderson absorbs it slowly, transforming from paralyzed timidity into the student who leads the final salute. Even the visual rhythm of the movie, moments of freedom on the soccer field or the secret gatherings of the Dead Poets Society, echo the pulse of Keating's lesson. The phrase becomes a paradox. The joy of seizing life collides with the weight of responsibility and consequence. That duality is why the ending resonates so powerfully. Carpe diem isn't just a motto on the chalkboard. It's a haunting reminder that choices define us, sometimes beautifully, sometimes painfully, but always irreversibly. Fact 6. Whitman's shadow looms over Mr. Keating. Mr. Keating isn't just a teacher in Dead Poets Society. He's a cinematic embodiment of Walt Whitman's call to individuality. Early in the film, he literally points to Whitman's portrait in the classroom and challenges his students to see more than just a stern old man. Later, the boys invoke Whitman's elegy, "O Captain, my Captain," as their secret language of resistance, transforming a 19th century poem into the emotional climax of the story. Screenwriter Tom Schulman has said that Whitman was essential to shaping Keating's philosophy, and Peter Weir directed Robin Williams to embody Whitman's blend of tenderness and rebellion. The choice of poetry wasn't random. Whitman's themes of nonconformity, the celebration of life, and the breaking of societal boundaries mirrored the boys' struggle at Welton Academy. Some viewers have also speculated that the surname Keating nods toward John Keats, the romantic poet who, like Neil Perry, died young after wrestling with questions of beauty and mortality. While there's no documented proof Schulman or Weir intended that link, it's an intriguing layer of interpretation. What is certain is that Whitman's presence is everywhere, in the classroom, in the language of the boys' rebellion, and in the film's most iconic closing image. Keating isn't simply a teacher, he is Whitman's voice brought to life, urging a generation to seize the day. Fact 7. The Academy didn't want Robin Williams nominated. Williams gave one of his most beloved performances, yet the Academy initially resisted nominating him for Best Actor. The film wasn't seen as serious enough by some voters. Only after a wave of critical praise and box office success did Williams earn his nomination. It's a strange irony. A movie about breaking rules nearly had its teacher excluded from Hollywood's highest honor. On rewatch, knowing that struggle gives Williams' restrained performance even more power. He wasn't just playing Keating, he was fighting for respect. Fact 8. Welton Academy was real, but not haunted. Dead Poets Society was largely filmed at St. Andrew's School in Middletown, Delaware, which stood in for the fictional Welton Academy. The crew scheduled filming during school holiday breaks, Thanksgiving, Christmas, so as to not disrupt regular classes. Some classroom interiors were shot on a soundstage near Wilmington rather than in school buildings. While many locals and students still point out buildings and halls where the actors walked, and extras remember the excitement of having a Hollywood production on campus, there's no strong evidence of anything supernatural or that the cast felt trapped in dorms. The real tension came more from the emotional takes in the script than from the location itself. On rewatch, you can still get a sense of authenticity from the school's architecture, the uniforms, and the sense of hierarchy built into the boarding school setting. But the haunted dorms narrative seems to belong more to storytelling than fact. Fact 9. Robert Sean Leonard was deeply aware of Neil's weighty role. Robert Sean Leonard was only 19 when he took on the role of Neil Perry in Dead Poets Society. He later described the experience of filming it as both magical and intense, saying the emotional weight of Neil's tragic arc made the role deeply meaningful, and sometimes difficult to watch after the fact. While there is no reliable record that he almost quit, his discomfort with how young and vulnerable Neil is, and how drastic the character's choices are, clearly shaped his performance. Fact 10. Subtle lighting and visual tone shape the film's emotion. The look of Dead Poets Society is more than just pretty photography. Cinematographer John Seale and director Peter Weir use lighting, shadow, and composition to reinforce the film's emotional and thematic contrasts. Scenes in Keating's classroom often feel open, softly lit, and expressive, letting the actors' faces breathe with warmth and clarity. Other spaces, private offices, interiors with more authority or conflict, lean more into shadow, tighter framing, and cooler tones, which heightens the sense of repression and internal struggle. Although no interview confirms each scene was designed for symbolic contrast, the overall visual rhythm of the film supports the idea that light and dark are part of the story, not just the story being told with dialogue, but also with what is seen. Fact 11. A case to be made that Todd Anderson is the true heart of the story. While Dead Poets Society is often advertised with John Keating, Robin Williams, as the main force, Todd Anderson, Ethan Hawke, arguably has the clearest transformation arc. Todd starts the film as painfully shy, barely speaking, but through Keating's influence, he gradually finds his voice, literally and metaphorically. In one of the film's most emotional peaks, he overcomes his insecurities, the "yawp" scene, and later becomes one of the students who stands up on the desk in the "Oh Captain, my Captain" moment. Though the film's narrative is clearly structured around Keating's lessons and philosophies, Todd is the character who grows the most, and many viewers feel his journey is central to the emotional core of the movie. Fact 12. Robin Williams infused improv into key moments. Robin Williams, known for his improvisational gift, brought that flair into Dead Poets Society. Among the more memorable moments are his Shakespeare impersonations, in the styles of Marlon Brando and John Wayne, which lighten and humanize Mr. Keating's stern classroom persona. According to Slash Film, director Peter Weir allowed Williams some room to ad-lib to help loosen things up on set, especially early in filming. While not every laugh or reaction in those moments is confirmed to be spontaneous, the improvisations contribute to a feeling of raw spontaneity and emotional truth in the final film. Fact 13. Ethan Hawke's early doubts and hidden strength. At age 18, Ethan Hawke stepped into the role of Todd Anderson in Dead Poets Society. He later described the experience as emotionally intense, called the role painful at times, and said the internal tension Todd carries was something Hawke himself felt. He admitted that early in filming, he thought Robin Williams hated him, not out of true feeling, but because Hawke was shy, serious, and deeply unsure of himself. While there's no record that he quit acting afterward or refused to watch dailies, these anxieties clearly contributed to the authenticity of his performance. The nervousness, the hesitation, the quiet moments all felt lived rather than purely acted. Fact 14. The cave meetings carry intentional weight through atmosphere. The secret gatherings of the Dead Poets Society in the cave are more than plot devices. They're among the film's most emotionally charged scenes, and director Peter Weir, screenwriter Tom Schulman, and cinematographer John Seale clearly treated them as such. The cave, separated from the academic life of Welton, becomes a private, sacred space for the boys to share poetry, vulnerability, and rebellion. The mood, lighting, and staging emphasize intimacy, secrecy, and emotional transformation. While there's no solid evidence that candles were used or that every shot is ritualized, the atmosphere makes the cave feel like a threshold between repression and freedom, conformity and voice. Fact 15. A PG rating against heavy themes. Dead Poets Society was released with a PG rating, despite dealing with intense and mature themes such as rebellion, parental pressure, conformity, and suicide. While there's no documented proof that the filmmakers were ever threatened with an R rating, the film pushes PG boundaries through its emotional depth and tragic content. On rewatch, it's striking how such a young audience accessible rating houses such weight. The movie trusts teen viewers with serious ideas, not by censoring, but by weaving them into its heart. Fact 16. The film almost ended differently. Screenwriter Tom Schulman originally drafted Dead Poets Society with a subplot in which John Keating has Hodgkin's lymphoma, a terminal illness that would explain his fervent carpe diem philosophy. Director Peter Weir strongly opposed this version, feeling the emotional power came more from what students do for their teacher rather than the teacher's suffering. In the end, the illness plot was removed, and the famous final classroom tableau, where nearly all the students stand on their desks in a silent salute to Keating, became the film's indelible catharsis. Fact 17. The final scene's emotional toll. Robert Sean Leonard's performance in Neil Perry's final moments is especially powerful, partly because the emotional stakes were very high on set. He has said in interviews that playing Neil's tragic arc was challenging, and that filming the ending required deep emotional honesty. While there's no solid proof the scene was filmed in a single take, that rawness is palpable on screen. Leonard delivers a performance that feels like a singular emotional release, one that clearly pushed both actor and director to find truth in grief. Fact 18. The story sparked controversy in schools. While Dead Poets Society was embraced by critics and audiences, its themes of rebellion and suicide did not sit comfortably in every educational environment. The novelization of the film by N.H. Kleinbaum has been documented on banned and challenged book lists in U.S. schools, where administrators argued it encouraged nonconformity and romanticized tragedy. The film itself has not been widely regarded as banned, but there are accounts of it being withheld from curricula or discouraged for classroom use because of its heavy subject matter. The irony is sharp. A story about free thought and questioning authority has itself been treated with suspicion in schools. On reflection, this pushback mirrors the film's authoritarian headmaster, proof that even outside the screen, Dead Poets Society was capable of unsettling authority figures. Fact 19. The cast formed their own mini academy. To capture the intimacy of life at Welton Academy, director Peter Weir encouraged the young cast to bond deeply off camera. While there's no record that they lived in strict uniforms or method-style curfews, retrospectives reveal that the actors spent extensive time together, building camaraderie that carried into their performances. Ethan Hawke, Josh Charles, and Robert Sean Leonard have all reflected on how the experience felt immersive, almost like actually attending a boarding school. That sense of real connection is visible in the cave meetings and dormitory scenes, where the actors' interactions feel less like staged performances and more like genuine teenage dynamics. Weir's approach gave the group an emotional authenticity, turning their ensemble into something more than scripted classmates. Fact 20. It won the Oscar for Best Screenplay. Though Williams didn't win Best Actor, Dead Poets Society triumphed at the 1990 Academy Awards, taking home Best Original Screenplay for Tom Schulman. The film was also nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor. That win solidified the film's legacy. On rewatch, every line feels deliberate. Schulman's script is poetry itself, hiding Easter eggs of meaning in seemingly casual dialogue. We've explored 20 of the strangest and most fascinating truths behind Dead Poets Society. From Robin Williams' restrained brilliance to the hidden Whitman nods and the students' immersive dorm life, the film's legacy is richer than most people realize. But the story doesn't quite end there. A few more behind-the-scenes details deserve the spotlight. Strange, moving, and unforgettable. Let's close with some bonus facts that prove this film's impact reaches far beyond the screen. Bonus Fact 1. Robin Williams became a mentor to his cast. Robin Williams' generosity didn't stop when the cameras turned off. Ethan Hawke has recalled that he initially thought Williams disliked him on set because he was so serious, but after filming wrapped, Williams surprised him by sending Hawke's name to his own manager. That introduction helped Hawke secure representation and launch his professional career. Off-screen, Williams offered encouragement and advice, acting as a real-life version of John Keating, guiding the next generation of actors as he had guided the boys in the story. Bonus fact 2. Fiction and reality blurred in their bond. For many of the young actors, Robin Williams' mentorship felt eerily similar to his role as Keating. Ethan Hawke wasn't the only one who received encouragement. Several cast members have spoken about how Williams treated them with kindness and respect, bridging the intimidating gap between veteran star and newcomers. This overlap between character and actor gave the film a strange resonance. Williams wasn't just playing a mentor on screen. He was becoming one off-screen, shaping the futures of the people who portrayed his students. Bonus fact 3. The cave became a real pilgrimage site. The cave where the boys secretly revived the Dead Poets Society wasn't just a Hollywood set. Located near St. Andrew's School in Delaware, where the movie was filmed, it became an unofficial tourist attraction after the movie's release. Students and fans would sneak out to the site, sometimes reading poetry by flashlight or candlelight, imitating the film's iconic scenes. What was staged as a ritual in the movie became one in real life, a place where art inspired people to recreate the magic. Bonus fact 4. Neil's fate sparked real-world debate. Neil Perry's devastating choice at the end of the film shocked audiences and quickly became a point of controversy. Some parents and educators worried the story risked romanticizing suicide, while others believed it opened important conversations about mental health, parental pressure, and the cost of repression. The tension mirrored the movie's central themes. Just as Keating urged his students to speak their truth in the face of silence, the film forced schools and families to confront subjects that were often avoided. Dead Poets Society isn't just a film, it's a call to action. With Robin Williams at his most tender and a cast of young actors who grew into stars, it became a meditation on freedom, art, and the painful price of defiance. From hidden Whitman references to improvised laughter, from school bands to Oscar glory, its legacy is as strange as it is enduring. More than 30 years later, audiences still stand on their desks, not just for Keating, but for a story that reminds us to seize the day before it slips away. If you want more strange truths buried in cinema history, like and subscribe. This is Strange Flick Facts, where we uncover the bizarre truths behind your favorite films.